And they're always there at 8. I put out tweets. You will not be allowed in. So you can educate an entire nation.
I have a surprising amount of that as well. People tweet you and go, got a ticket for your show. It's at 8 o'clock. When should I get there? Well, that's up to you. But before 8 o'clock, definitely. But I think people imagine it's like music and there'll be sort of 4 or 5 acts on and then...
Yeah, when it's rock and roll and they wander around.
And also those guys deliberately come late, don't they? Like, you get people like rappers and stuff that they won't even show up for 3 hours and like... They deliberately wind the crowd up, basically.
I'm like a rapper, but I'm punctual.
I
like to be, yeah. I make my entourage to be there early.
The punctual rapper, Ricky Gervais.
Exactly, yeah.
What was 24 hours like?
Well, I've done it quite a lot now.
How did you cope with that? Was it horrific?
No, I mean, it's quite...
Did the crowd change?
Well, in the early ones, so I've done it about 7 times now, although not for a while. I haven't done it. I'm planning to do one next year, sort of revive it, because next year will be the 10th anniversary of the last one in Edinburgh. The original idea was the crowd would change, people would come and go, and I would just be sort of rolling thing. But then people started to become sort of fans of it, and they deliberately set out to do the whole thing, and they would bring sleeping stuff, they'd bring food and things like that. So these days, it's mostly the same people stay in the room with you for the whole. I've done longer. I did 36 hours once. That was quite.
But why? What was your? Was it just like a little thing? Did you want to get in the Guinness Book of Records?
It wasn't even in the Guinness Book of Records because there's some prick in America that's done longer, but done longer not by like, the way I do it is like the audience is quite heavily involved. We improvise a lot of stuff. Whereas someone in America's done one where they just did the same set of routines over and over. I think in the States there was this kind of for a while there was a sort of.
We've talked about this. The Guinness World Records, you can get in it if you want to get in it. If you want to balance biscuits on your head and walk 100 miles.
Exactly. To get in
people
that
will go, well, if you do that, you're the only one who's done it, so you're the first and best.
Yeah, you've only got to buy 200 toilet rolls and put them in a tower and you're in the Guinness Book of Records, basically.
Exactly,
that doesn't take 20... Well, actually, that might take me 24 hours. Yeah, it wasn't really a record. I think it was... Because I'd started going up to Edinburgh in my student days, really, and... the sheer amount of comedy used to make me feel quite daunted. So when I was starting out, I thought, what can I do that's totally different? It was a sort of mad cry for attention, basically.
I see, right. Okay, so it's a marketing thing, because it sort of worked, because you were sort of known for it. And
yeah, it was... I never intended it to be a like ongoing thing. I thought I'd just do this once as a stunt. But it ended up being... I ended up being really fond of it as a format, because... Like you can set stuff up. Like one year we sent someone to France and back in the course of the show, or we do stuff like try and get famous people to drop in, but not by using any contact, just by literally trying
I like the arbitrary nature of it's like when Phil Collins got on Concorde and played Live Aid in Wembley, and then he played it in Philadelphia.
It's stuff like that.
And this is on a much smaller scale.
It's basically stuff like
Ferry's
that.
late. Okay, hurry up, I'll keep talking.
It literally is that. Instead of Phil Collins playing on 2 continents, it's like a bloke I've never met before called Gareth going briefly to Calais and bringing back some of those funny French biscuits with faces on it.
Really?
And the reason I love those shows is that obviously it's like if you stay up all night, suddenly everything becomes funny and everything becomes sort of meaningful as well. So a pointless, like a shit stunt, like somebody getting from Scotland to France and then back again, coming back with biscuits. I remember that moment, and like it was the final hour. He made it back into the room, and people went absolutely mental, just because we'd all been conditioned.
It's a tiny story. It's a huge victory.
Definitely gone, Addy.
We made him send various pictures of landmarks along the way. But yeah, it's basically the whole 24-hour show thing is like a series of tiny stories. Or like one year I did it in Melbourne, and we tried to get the Lord Mayor to show up. And we did stuff like wrote him a song, delivered a handwritten scroll to the town hall, just basically harassed the guy for about 18 hours. And he's just didn't even really have the status of the mayor of London. He was just like, it's not like being the mayor in the States. He's quite a minor figure, basically, but just again, because
it's like being the mayor in a small town.
Yeah.
If you get to 60, you can be mayor.
Yeah, like he was.
if you live that long.
He was a well-known bloke in a way, but it's still like quite a minor public servant. But again, just because we'd collectively become obsessed with the task of getting this man, when he finally walked in, it was like Elvis or something.
Of course.
And of course, the guy himself was absolutely baffled. He didn't understand why there'd been.
That's hilarious.
And we couldn't really explain why. We were just like, this was what we
wanted.
wanted.
We're off our heads, basically.
We've gone nuts, and we spent almost 20 hours planning specifically to get you. So we tried, like a couple of years ago, I did one in London. We tried to get Zach Braff to appear, and I can't remember why. He
must have been over here doing a theatre.
We got the idea that he was here doing theatre. Then it turned out halfway through he was actually back in the States. But by then, again, we'd set our hearts arbitrarily on Zach Braff, and so it became like, well, can we contact his agent? Someone knew his sister through about 4 other people. All this, and again, like. We ended up with a sort of 10-second video message from an obviously baffled Braff who was just humouring some guy. But again, it was.
That's
you would have thought we'd achieved something.
That's great. It's
basically all about achieving absolutely pointless. It's just an exercise in really long pointless.